Yeah, we can
Sorry.
get back to
I'm just
this
taking over.
composition. Yeah,
Okay.
to this composition and the way you compose all your songs. But let's have a small part for the gear. You know, what is the setup you use in the studio and the live settings?
Uh, in the studio, I do different things for different projects for different pieces of music. Um, if I'm playing on somebody else's record, I usually just go very direct, just plug the bass in as direct as possible to the recording system and do that. But if I'm doing solo music, it varies a lot. Um, when and I'd be glad to discuss that specifically if there's any particular piece you'd like to know about
Yeah, of course.
how I did it. But when I play live, I'm limited by what I can travel with. And the airlines are very strict about it. So I have to be able to have a system where I can do all the kinds of things I want to do, but it's very small. And in fact, my system, I can't bring another case for my electronics because the airlines, it's too expensive. I can't afford to bring it. So they have to fit inside my clothes, in with all my clothes, and it has to be the right weight and everything. And I've changed it a lot over the years. Many times I've gone through various different iterations. But the one I'm using currently, I can actually show you. Should I do
Please.
that, Thomas?
Yes,
You
it
can
okay?
do that. Yeah, why not?
I'll try.
Yeah,
Here,
of course.
I'll try to see.
The secret pedal board.
Yeah, it's not really secret.
A
Can you
nice
see?
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a
Is
Boss.
it a GT1000, that one?
Yes, it's a GT1000, and I just got it a few months ago. And so I am still working with it. Every time I get something like this, I completely erase everything that's in it and start from scratch because I know just what I want to do. And so I did that with this one, and I've only played a few gigs with it before the COVID hit. But
So you experiment a lot, and beside all the pedals, you have very strong collaboration, of course, with Zone Bass. It's
Yes.
made for you, and
Yes.
with also with Mark Bass, isn't it?
yes, I love both of those things, both Mark Bass and Zahn. I couldn't live without either of them because they're just so critical to what I do. I've been working with Zahn now for almost 30 years. Joe Zahn is a very good friend of mine, very good friend, and we spend time together socially as well as professionally. And I guess he just really knows who I am because anytime he makes me an instrument, it instantly becomes like part of me. He just knows what I'm looking for. I don't even tell him what to do anymore. He just knows. So that's really lucky. And I've been working with Mark Bass for a pretty long time now too. And it's just beautiful gear. That I feel so privileged to be able to use this stuff. It's just so high quality, all of it. So a big thank you to all of these people for helping me to achieve my voice. I got my Mark Bass right back here. Oh, I'll go this way. Right back here.
Yeah.
This is the it's called the Bass multi-amp, and then this is a 112 cabinet. So
So
Nice
you have,
one.
do you overlap the sounds of the multi-amp and the pedal board? The way you get, because the
I
multi-amp is programmable, isn't it, with simulations and effects in it?
it has wonderful effects in it that really sound great, and I have a few patches I use where I use both, but when I travel, I usually can't get a multi-amp. So for most of what I do, I would like to be able to use the multi-amp as well, but I can't. So I have to, for most things, I have to just only use what's in the GT1000. And it's been quite a challenge, actually, because most of the sounds, like the piece I just played, I didn't come up with that patch in this unit. I came up with it in a different unit and had to translate it over to this one. And there's some significant significant differences.
A lot of effort also.
It is. It's a lot of, you have to think a lot. I have a lot of nights where I wake up in the middle of the night and go, oh, right, that's how I could could do that on the GT1000, and I'll have to repatch things. But I'm using every bit of information that it has to do some of
I
these
really
things.
like this sentence you used. You have to think about the sound, because mostly, not only bass players but also guitarists, we start from the patch sounds and we adapt ourselves to that sound. But it seems to me the correct way is always to start from an idea, what sound I have in my mind, and then how can I get that sound with my gear now? It doesn't matter what kind of gear you have, isn't it?
That's a great comment, Thomas. And I in music, one of the fun things about music is there's kind of no wrong way to do it. If you do say balance beam, if you're a gymnast and you're on the balance beam, if you do it wrong, it's really wrong, and you're really going to get hurt.
Die.
In music, if you do things, a different way, maybe you won't get the best music, but it's not wrong. It could be still interesting. And I think both are good. I think it's fine to start with a patch that you like and move from there. I often do that. But I would say more often I hear a sound in my head and I think, boy, I sure would like to do that. And then I try to figure out how to do that on the machine. And we're lucky that they have these machines that are pretty small that we can still do that. But if I had my choice, I'd have about 18 machines all running together, I suppose. But it's good to have the limitation, because if I did that, it would take me even longer to put it all together.
Yeah, there's Marco De Virgilis online, and he said, "Thank you, Michael. You are the master, really."
Oh, no. I mean, Marco is such a master. He's the man that designed and built these amps, and it's they're just revolutionary. It's just the sound is. With amplifiers, I hate to sound like an advertisement, but it's a very mysterious kind of technology, amplifiers. I've played through many that sounded fantastic, that were like really, really high quality and were wonderful, but I just didn't feel like that I wanted to play through them. I just didn't, personally, it didn't make me feel like I want to play music. Something about what Marco does, that sound is awesome technically, but every time I plug into it, I just think, I want to play. I just want to play. I can hear this sound, and it makes me want to play. I don't know how he does it, but maybe I should.
Yeah, that's a nice goal.
Yeah,
nice goal.
It is beautiful. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask you, Mike, one thing about the gear?
Yeah.
Because that's got to do with me, so it's kind of personal question. Because I've got a very primitive set of effects and pedals, which I reluctantly started to put together because I've got some sounds, but I'm not that patient in getting a multi-effects and delve into the settings. I like, to have something very transparent, plug and play, and it does what I like. But it's really hard, so it took me a long time to get something. How do you approach this? Because, I've got a sound in mind, but I'm looking for the tool that does it, and I don't have to fiddle too much around with, because I'm not patient in that sense. So I'm a bit jealous for some guitarists to have, there was an old Mesa Boogie programmable preamp, and then the multi-amp, and then the effects.
The tri-axis.
Tri-axis, and they could go, and I was just getting, man, get a JCM 800. This is the master, this is treble, bass, and mid, and it's it. If you start from a sound that you go in your head, how can you give me a tip how to kind of get more familiar or more comfortable with technology and patches? And because when I turn a digital knob or something, it doesn't feel to me that it does anything just as much. Maybe it does it, like on a mixing console, like on Logic. I can manage to do something with the analog thing because it feels, maybe it's a placebo effect, like I turn the knob and I feel the difference. If I do it on the mouse or on the patch, the digital
On the touch
button,
screen.
I don't feel like has it changed anything? So I have to go all the way to get a horrible sound to perceive a change. I don't know, maybe it's a silly question, but
So you mean it
bothers me,
it doesn't seem real?
Yeah, it just, when I have here, the chorus, like an analog chorus, I change the rate and I can feel that it goes from wah, 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 wah. When I do it on a digitally, on the same patch, the TC Electronic stereo chorus on Logic, it is the same. I move the thing, I move the knob, but they don't seem to do as much as with a physical object. So, I mean, because you're saying if you would have the chance to have 80 pedal boards or 80 things, you put it together, I would get crazy just with one. I mean, I have 10 pedals is more than what I can handle.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
The first thing I would say about that, I'll do my best to offer help. The first thing I would say about that is you're right. If you change something, it doesn't matter what it's on, whether it's an analog piece of gear or if it's a digital piece of gear or in the computer. If you change something and you don't feel anything, then don't use that. Then that's not. It has to sound good. It has to sound good. That's the only thing that matters. So
yeah, exactly.
If you're changing something and nothing is happening to you, no, you're not feeling anything, the sound isn't appealing to you in some way, then find something else because it's not worth it. When you do find that thing, like if you find a chorus you really like and you're not able to use it, that might motivate you to try to replicate it in something else. And in that case, you kind of have to experiment and see what you can do. But you have to have the motivation. It has to be something that you want to do. And you have to not be confused or distracted by the technology. I mean, the technology, the bottom line is it has to sound good. And some things just don't. So even doesn't matter how much you paid for it or how fancy it is. Some things just don't sound as good as others. Some things will sound good to you, but not somebody else. Some things will sound good when this guitar player plays it, but when we plug through it, it doesn't. So just work with those things that sound good to you, and just work with one at a time. Like work with your pedals. But if you have a pedal that you like, I would recommend going through every possible setting that it has. Just spending 5 minutes with every possible setting that it has, so you really know what it does and what it's saying and what every little setting is doing. And then just move on from there and only spend as much time on it as you find interesting. If you start to get bored or you feel like it's not moving to you, then go do something else. There's so much to do in music that you don't have time
You have to
do
spend
something.
fiddling around with things, right?
You have time to experiment, but only if you're enjoying it. Only if you're doing something that you love. Because I could never touch any electronics again and never be bored in music because there's so much to do. So only spend the amount of time on it that you find that really captures your heart, that really says something to you. It doesn't have to be like you're having the most fun you ever had, but it should be something where you really feel something, where you go, wow, that really says something to me, and I want to work with that. And if you find something like that, don't as we say, don't let it off easy. If you find something that, like whatever it is, a fuzz box or a chorus or a compressor that really does something you like, really kind of take it and really find out how it works and find out what it's doing and really make it your own, just like you do with your instrument, exactly like you do with your instrument, because that's what it is. It's part of your instrument. That anytime you plug your instrument into something, it's just like adding another string or another pickup or some more frets or something.
Yeah, Michael,
Try to
I
expand
remember.
it.
Yeah, get along. Yeah, Alex, come.
No, I was saying just to expand as much as you can in the little thing. So, because my rule is, if it within 30 seconds doesn't sound good, just drop it.
30 seconds is a little bit short because you can
Too short,
be
yeah.
you can be you can be fooled by something. There's a number of things I've tried. You tried it once and thought, well, that's completely useless, and then come back to later and spend an hour with and going, oh my God, this has become indispensable to me. So I would say more than 30 seconds. You'll know in 30 seconds you'll know a lot, but you need to spend maybe, it depends on how complex a piece of gear it is, but you need probably more than 30 seconds.